Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Life Beyond Boxes podcast. My name is Marian with Premium Q, and I got Victor Shaves here, also with Premium Q.
Glad to be here.
So today, I guess we'll address a question that a lot of people, we didn't realize probably, maybe 2 years in the business. Even though the name says Premium Q Moving and Storage, a lot of people did not know that we provide storage services. So then we kind of made a deal with ourselves and we said, we have to mention this and we have to be vocal about all the other services that we help people with, not outside of just the regular moving.
Absolutely.
So we'll dive into the most, common requests that we get, and also mention the things that, all right, there will be services that we might not be able to help with ourselves, but we have a wide range of referral people that will send you to anything from contractors to realtors to mortgage brokers and anybody in between. So I guess the first obviously would be moving. So even the moving one has a couple different brackets. So we got the local. In local, we have residential and commercial, meaning what does commercial mean? Commercial account that we have is the Intercontinental Hotel. We help them on a monthly basis, sometimes even on a weekly basis, especially summertime, with furnishing, refurnishing rooms, changing things around inside the hotel. That would be one type of commercial. Second type of commercial type of project that we can help people with would be office moves. I guess that would be the most basic. Third would be, we worked with a couple of schools. Cabinet makers. In schools, I guess in universities would be any kind of small task like moving offices within the same building, all the way to moving some dorm rooms from one place to another, or replacing furniture in dorm facilities, things like that. I guess in other commercial aspects, we just moved, a clothing store? So any kind of business that needs relocation of their facilities and whatnot. As of right now, we probably wouldn't go as deep as moving labs. I don't think it would be necessarily something we can still handle a part of it, but maybe if it's a chemistry type of laboratory.
We've done a few. There's a Boston one, and the company's escaping my mind right now, but it's we've done their office space of the lab.
Exactly.
When it comes to moving the actual high-tech equipment, whatever company manufactures those and sells those sends reps out to do that because that's what they specialize in.
Especially if it's a big
everything around there, obviously like the the tables and all the stuff and all the actual inventory, that stuff we've moved a bunch.
And anything in between, I would say commercial and office, in my opinion, office move would be a little bit of like it belongs in the commercial genre. It's just one aspect of it. Then residential, obviously, you're talking any kind of small moves to large moves, and we're still at the local level. We haven't even went into the interstate. But so residential can be 1-bedroom studio apartment, 2 bedrooms, elevated, non-elevated, doesn't matter. Non-hoisting. If we need a crane service involved, let's say, I remember a couple months or last year, we had a couple of pianos that had to go through the window. So for that, we needed a crane. We don't provide a crane ourselves, but we have our third-party referral. So we would book it, we would get the prices, and we would offer it to our customers. So that people don't have to call the third party themselves. So that would be for in local, actually, and this actually falls under commercial still. We helped a couple events companies to just like labor wise. We were there for hours helping them set up the
put down
stage
floor for some of the stadiums around us. Absolutely.
So all kinds of things like that. Then if we move into I digress. So still at residential, and we did this in 2018 and 19 when we had the cleaning company, almost like a sister company. My wife was managing it. So this year, 2024, we were starting to provide the cleaning
Bring it back
services.
in-house,
Yeah,
yep.
putting it back. At first, it'll be a lot of move in, move outs.
Yeah.
But we'll see how our customer base kind of responds. Well, most likely, a lot of the clients will need help more than just the move in, move out. So maybe they'll need the guys there for a couple of times a month or things of that nature. So that's another service that we can help people with. A lot of people ask, can you guys put TVs on the wall? We can help with providing the tools and providing the guidance. It's just from an insurance standpoint, we're not allowed. But again, in here, we have a handyman that we will recommend.
Yep.
We have, at this point in time, I think we have one, and it's literally the contractor that I've used personally in my house and in a couple of the company projects as well. But that would be local. So then if you move into interstate, pretty much everything that I mentioned in local applies, except the cleaning at destination, unless you're moving to Florida and it's closer to our Tampa location.
Yep.
I guess in the interstate part, a lot more storage comes involved than...
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I think moving in general is complicated as far as closings goes, and then you add that the state or the house that you're buying is in a different state. There's always some sort of in-between time, especially on how expedient that we ship stuff across state lines. Right. There's always some, whether it be a week, a couple of days, or a couple of months. There's also a lot of people that are selling their houses that don't know exactly where they're going to yet. So they might be renting an apartment in Florida while they're looking for a house or waiting for the market in whatever state that they're going to. So that's where obviously the knowing that we're the storage part of it, but also knowing how the storage works. And with an interstate move, we would always store it at the pickup location. So whether you're coming from Boston in our Mass location to a different state, or you're coming from Florida to a different state, we would always store it in the state that you're picking up. So Boston, obviously, in Mass, and then obviously Florida and Florida, because we want to be able to complete the move for you. So obviously Boston and Florida is a little bit different because we have locations in both areas, but just in general, we always store it here in the Mass location or the Florida location. That way, whenever you have a place, we're loading up the storage, we're driving it down, and then we're offloading it. That way we can still complete the full move. That way you're not hiring a different moving company in the state just to pick it up and deliver it. So that's where, obviously, on the local side of it, knowing that we offer storage, whether it be short term, a day, or long term, is what we want to try to educate people on, that we do that. So that's really the biggest thing in local, is the obviously storage. The second one would be obviously any of the full packing help that we offer. So obviously it's premium queue moving and storage, but it's also packing help as far as packing your belongings, wrapping the furniture, and even the specialty furniture like a piano, or you've done shuffleboards, stuff like that. So it's the packing aspect, which is obviously the second question that we always get asked if we do. And then the third one would be obviously the cleaning, whether it be, just a broom sweep after you're buying or after you're selling a house, or doing a deep clean of the new place that you're getting into a fresh, clean house kind of thing. So that's another thing that we've always recommended companies, but obviously excited to, bring it back in-house and actually be able to offer it. That way we can stay connected, and it's a very seamless process from when our guys leave on the moving side of the business to the cleaning people come in and clean the house before obviously you're selling it and before you're doing the walkthrough.
And I remember 2018 and 2019, a lot of people were so happy they don't have to deal with multiple people in between to call them.
Absolutely.
I guess the biggest factor was trying to coordinate, is the move going to be done in time? Do you need an extra hour or two so the cleaners don't have to wait?
And then it's also just like working around, obviously, with the guys obviously working very well with each other. They know that, okay, if the moving side of the business is just wrapping up in a property, I can start on the second floor where they already emptied kind of thing. So it just makes a very seamless process as far as, us staying in contact with, the guys and kind of coordinating everything. And if you can just hire one company for a bunch of stuff, it takes a lot of stress off your back, and it makes all the stuff that you have to do when you're buying or selling or leasing a apartment or house just easier on move day.
I guess we should probably add some type of concierge page on the website, so people can actually
provide vendors kind of thing, and go over all the stuff that
we have a third-party referral network page where people can see all the guys that we recommend. So for realtors, we have people listed there. For brokers that we worked with personally, we have their information there. Stagers, you name it, like a real estate attorney.
Yeah, it's pretty much, interior designers, anything really, obviously a lot of it is stationed around the relocation process because that's what we do. But even to go beyond that, we have divorce attorneys that we can recommend. We have, life coaches. We have, everything in between that might not even just be with the relocation. I think when you get to being in business and kind of, trying to strive to perform the best business, you're reaching out to a lot of people, a lot of like-minded people, and then you're gaining not only their knowledge, but also their network. So our good friend, Matt Quinlan, hosts a networking event of all different companies, a couple times a year. And he always kind of puts it perfectly. He says that, each person's network is anywhere from 50 to 100 people. You take 20, 30 of those people that all have, say, 100 people in their network. Now, all of a sudden, we're upwards of 500 to 1,000 people in a total network. And it's all people that we've done work with before. We trust, obviously, we've sent referrals to them. They do a great job. We know how they treat their business and how they treat their clients. So it's a very easy way for us to refer and make your life easier because we've done the work on not so much vetting, but getting to know these companies and knowing that they do a good job.
And a lot of them, we use them ourselves in like a lot of different projects. Before we move into the international type of services, and in there, we are actually the third party because we have a couple partners that we work with, so they handle the shipping part of things after we load the containers. But everything from inventory to making sure that the paperwork is properly done, like the inventory paperwork for customs, labeling everything properly, of course, taking things apart, keeping screws together and all that. That's part of our process. But actually, I said before we kind of moved already into international. So we'll mention the last part here after this. But a lot of people have no idea that we can help them with international services as well. And what was, I can refresh my memory, I think it was somebody that was moving to Denmark, if I'm not wrong. This was a while ago. And eventually, I can't remember if we did the move or not, but I remember they were like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that you guys can actually get the quote for the move or for the packing and getting things ready for me on one end, and but you can also get the shipping costs, at least in the quote. That was a good...
I mean, there's a lot of people that, obviously the number of moving companies in general out there is a lot more than the moving companies that specialize in international moves or even provide international services. So it's obviously easier to find a moving company, see if they do international shipping, and then obviously go from there. So we get a lot of people calling us, asking if we do the international shipping part, kind of being the one-stop shop for not only us to do the service of it, but also either get them in contact or even give a quote for the whole process of the international shipping. We have two main international shippers that we work with that do fantastic work, and it's kind of nice. They both specialize in different areas of where they ship stuff or where their clientele mostly ships stuff, but they kind of run us through exactly what is needed to be done, and they have the connections with customs and all the different processes and the hoops that you have to jump through. So it's a very seamless process because they do it all the time, every day kind of thing. So really nice to kind of specialize with a couple people that found their niche, do that only, and have really perfected it. So, again, it's about knowing your network, knowing people. I mean, if you don't know, in life in general, if you don't know how to do something, you got to find someone that knows how to do it so they can teach you and show you how they have mastered it. Because they've already jumped through the hoops on what works, what doesn't. They've already made a lot of the mistakes. So once you find someone that really perfects any type of business, you want to stick with them and you want to give them as much business as you can.
Or at least or directly hire them to just do it for you. That would be the fastest path. All right, so moving into, I guess this was an experiment of mine, and we're still testing to see how much of our time will take this season, because this is the first year that we're actually offering this, and it's more like the moving consultant part of things. So recently we started offering advice for people that want to, maybe they're not in the same state that we have locations, so Boston, Mass, or Tampa, Florida, and they just want somebody to help them with the entire process from a project management standpoint. What does that mean? Like, in other words, you hire us for a 1 hour call, and that call can be broken down into 2 half-an-hour calls, one when you start vetting moving companies. So what can we help you with during that process? Well, number one is so let's say you're in Texas and you see one of our advertisements or you see one of our blogs, and you end up calling us to understand, like, all right, what do you guys actually provide in this 1 hour that I have to pay you for? Technically, so we have about 8.5, 9 years under our belt just with Premium Q. But then, of course, between all of us, like, combined, is over 30 something years of experience. But we'll walk you through from the beginning how to make sure, how to vet the moving company. It's not just calling the person that ranks the first all the time. Is a combination of that. Of course, if somebody that you're looking to hire, they have a budget to place advertisements on Google and Facebook and Instagram and all the other, it means it's a serious company that invests into being able to help more people. That's exactly what that means. Now, it doesn't stop there, right? Like, you have to kind of look at the reviews, and then you have to call them. So a lot of times, and I guess our key differentiator most of the times is, like, our slogan is, we move lives, not things, right? So like you said in a previous episode, a lot of times we might not be able to help you with our services, right? But if we can help you with advice to save $1,000, $2,000 on a move, and how to know to not get scammed when you get one of those. We've all seen those scenarios where you see a quote and it just seems too good to be true. And in life, most of the time, it's not always, but most of the times when you get one of those deals that is just incredibly low, and the guy is just telling you everything you want to hear, not what you have to hear, to just sell the job. It's something sketchy, right? So we'll teach you exactly how to identify those things, what things to pay attention when you sign estimates and whatnot, the differences between different types of estimates that you'll get from companies. And you don't need more than 3 to 5 if it's a long distance. If it's a local move, between 2 to 3, it's way enough, because you do the vetting properly
before you even get the quotes.
Exactly. So you'll think of us as your concierge, right? And then they'll most likely go on a call with you. You'll walk them through the process. But then also we'll teach them what is the right process of packing, making sure, and then they get access to all the tutorials that only our own clients get access to. So when somebody in our business, when somebody pays a deposit, they get an email, they'll be able to log in, and then they walk through, we walk them through, we have videos with, this is how you'll get a parking permit. This is how you pack your boxes, how to label them properly to make sure that when you get a destination, it's a quick and seamless transition. So this is the first year that we're offering this. We'll see. And even people that are listening or watching this episode, if you are, planning to move in the future, let's say you plan to sell your house, or you're selling, or you already sold your house, or whatever, there are options that you might not think of. Like, especially if you're moving, if you're in a situation where you sold your house, but now you don't find another house right away to move in, or maybe you decided, okay, I'm going to use this money for an investment or whatever, and then I have 12 months to go on a lease, like rent an apartment. Cool. We'll explain you what's the process of, you have your stuff packed up, placed in storage, but with the thought in mind, even that alone, knowing if you're moving out of state or you're staying in state, it's the materials that your things are packed with can make a dent in your budget.
Oh, of course.
So all of these things, and on top of that, I'll let you add a bunch of things that maybe I've missed.
Well, I mean, I think we're very excited about this because it's something that kind of we thought of very organically, because our whole time that we've been in business, we really have just tried to provide as much information about the moving situation and process, as we could. So I think with moving in general, there is so many companies out there, and there is a lot of scam companies and bad companies that have put a black mark on the whole industry itself. So
horror stories.
Yeah. So it's really just we're really just trying to educate people that, hey, listen, this is the signs to look for getting scammed and for other moving companies. And that only benefited us because we could tell them, hey, listen, this is how we do it, and this is the difference between the company that you might be getting a low quote for and what we're quoting, and always trying to compare apples to apples. And then it kind of just came to just trying to provide as much information to people that are outside of our demographic and outside of the region that we cover about moving in general. That's why we started the podcast. So this was the next progression of, kind of what we were trying to do. And it starts in all different levels. So it starts with us being able to help you vet moving companies and kind of look at the quotes and say, hey, listen, this is what they mean by this lingo. This is what valuation is. This is what insurance is when it comes to moving. This is what they mean by long carry charges or stair charges. If you have any larger items, this is what they're going to head. That way you're prepared for no matter what comes up. And then also you have an idea in mind of, just how to gain control of your move day to be able to control the price. So, you kind of get on a conversation with us. We'll briefly chat over the overview, see kind of what your budget is, what your needs are, and then we can kind of eliminate half the searching process just based on what your needs and budget is. So it's
even that, just setting expectations, because you might think, oh, this is my first time moving, so I expect I have a $1,000 budget. We would be up front and let you know if you're like way below.
You're probably going to have to do the packing.
You have to do the packing and the unpacking and get supplies from a different place. Don't buy it from all kinds of things. We would probably even give you like a ballpark of what we would charge locally here for things like that. That could save you not just a couple $100 to a couple $1,000, depending on the size of the move. Local versus interstate, big job versus small job. Now, who is this for? Obviously, if you're a college student and you're looking to move a studio apartment, this would not necessarily make a dent in how you vet moving companies. But if you are a homeowner or even a renter for that matter, and you're moving from a 2-bedroom house and above, to a different side, regardless if you're downsizing or you are looking to, maybe your family, you have kids, you're adding kids, or you have relatives that will come and live with you. This is going to save you days of research, a lot of headaches. We'll make sure that you're prepared, almost as prepared as we are as a company, with years of experience under our belt, and help you identify, set the right expectations, teach you what the questions to ask the company to make sure that they'll realize. A lot of times companies realize when a customer asks the right questions, they understand, oh, this person has moved multiple times because they know about this, they know about parking problems, they know about packing, increasing time of the move and whatnot. Understanding that it's better to move in the wintertime if you can. And it's better to move in the morning rather than afternoon, because then traffic changes, all kinds of situations like that. And then one of the best deals on the market, the slow season versus busy season and all these other things, spending 1 hour of your time, it can be less than that. We give you up to an hour of our time to talk to you. And then you can also, of course, send a couple emails in between if you break that hour into 2 half-an-hour calls. But doesn't matter where you're located. For that matter, you can be in Canada, U.S., but I feel like U.S. and Canada are like one of the biggest consumer countries of the moving services. I mean, in Europe, you move 500 miles and then you're in a different country. Language barrier might change the moving industry a little bit, but that's a whole different podcast episode. But we're happy to add this service to our service list, starting with the moment this episode is aired. So we're actually looking for feedback. You'll be able to find the link in the description below. You can book the call there. At the beginning, it's only a $97 per 1 hour. We'll see how much demand there is. Like, I'm upfront about this. Like we looked and we realized the number of searches are tremendous, looking incredibly high across US. I haven't checked Canada, but doesn't really matter now. But the US has an incredible, like, I can't remember, I think it was between 9 to 19,000, depending on the month.
Yeah.
Searches a month for moving consultants. Now, it's a combination of companies looking for moving consultants and then people. And again, this applies to office relocation as well. It applies to business relocation. If you're looking to move your business and you don't know. And again, it's important to mention to not be confused or to not confuse us and this service versus the lead generation companies that are selling leads to these companies. We are the consultant that we are on the consumer part. So we're helping the consumer regardless if the consumer is a residential person or it's an office or a commercial person, meaning you're the person in charge with your office move. You're the business owner that is looking to relocate their business. And of course, the dent in an office or commercial move is a lot bigger than in a residential one. But it applies to both scenarios.
Yeah, and I definitely think that it's a good thing to get it cleared that if you're in the Massachusetts or New England area, if you're in the Florida area and you wanted to get a quote and we could physically do the move for you, all of this service pretty much comes with you getting the quote and obviously you booking the service. This is just for outside of our demographic. We really just wanted to help people that we can't help physically with the moving process. We want to help them out in some way to help them save money, to kind of gear them towards, making sure that their move is as stress-free as possible, like we do our clientele. So definitely something that's kind of just out of the area that we work and just kind of helping people out to, I don't like saying not to get scammed because I think it goes much deeper into that. It's how to save money and
save days and weeks, depending how big of the move you have.
Time, money, and it's not always to weed out the scammers. It's that, hey, listen, you might have a great moving company booked, but it's things that you could do that could increase the price. And that's not anything that the moving company did. It's just maybe you didn't know that you have to have everything packed up and labeled and the moving company has to pack some stuff up last minute, which adds to the time, which adds to the cost. So it's not always detriment of the company that's doing the service for the cost. It's always just things of, knowing ahead of time and, things that you can just cut corners to save money and kind of just make it as stress-free as possible.
100%. All right, guys, thanks a lot for listening or watching, depending where you're consuming this episode. Don't forget, as always, in the first description of this episode, you'll be able to find a link. You can ask your question there. And if you just need some guidance, if you're, regardless if you're in Massachusetts or Florida, because our locations, one of them, it's in Boston, the other one is in Tampa, Florida. But anywhere in between, for that matter, if you have any questions, you can also find our phone number in the show notes in the description of this episode. And if you like the show, let us know. You can rate us on both Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't forget, you can always subscribe on any of your platforms of choice where you like to consume both audio and video. Video, we are on YouTube. Audio on all the audio platforms, everything from Apple to Spotify and everything in between. Subscribe to Life Beyond Boxers podcast. Thanks a lot for consuming this episode, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.